Over the last 2 weeks, I played the roguelike action game, Gods Will Fall, and I wanted to make a video showcasing my thoughts on the experience and tell you if you should give it a go. If you've seen the videos, then you probably already know the answer to that statement. However, I'd like to be clear and concise on what shining moments the game has and, spoiler alert, why you should avoid it. First, let's go over the positives. I think the overall story is nice and complements the idea of making the game a roguelike. You are part of a group of people who are increasingly becoming upset with the gods that made you, who, like your parents, blame all their problems on their children. The only reasonable response is to go on a voyage to kill them all. You get wrecked at sea and are given 8 survivors to take on the 10 gods. These 8 characters have a varying array of weapons, although really the biggest difference just seems to be light and heavy weapons. A bright spot is the fact that the 10 gods and the worlds they inhabit feel very distinct, and they vary in difficulty that changes every time you play, so a god that you crushed in the first run may end up being one of the toughest in a later run. The downside to this is that I don't think I would try another run, as this game suffers from some difficult setbacks. The first is the controls themselves. I played on a PC and I cannot fully express how much displeasure I have with the J, K, L keys being the attack buttons. With no way of remapping, I just try to get used to it, but when you get to the actual gameplay, for having such awkward controls, the game is unfortunately way too unforgiving on its mechanics to be anything other than frustrating. Another note is that even though the levels feel distinct, they suffer from poor level design. A big rule that designers need to follow is the idea of showing players something before it becomes relevant. Mario games have some of the best level design philosophy and follow a pattern that shows players what to expect, so they are never taken off guard. Instead, I lost a character because of an interaction with a level that I wasn't sufficiently prepared for, which only made me feel upset with the game itself, as I felt like I lost a character through no fault of my own. In another level, there were pressure plates that I recognized as one that would shoot spikes into someone after a delay. These spikes were easy enough for me to notice, as the transition slide shows spikes coming up from a plate, letting me know that this is something that I'm going to encounter here. This makes me question why they couldn't do something similar with the tumbling column blocks that slayed one of my heroes. They could even just show an enemy getting crushed by them to not only show that I should expect these, but that they will kill me when they hit me. Unfortunately, I could continue with minor issues that I had with design aspects of the game, but I don't want to make this video too long, and while I have more complaints, most of them are minor. The biggest thing I wanted to get across is the fact that all of these issues add up to a game experience that I cannot recommend to others. I liked the overall idea, but the execution leaves a lot to be desired. I plan on playing something new next week, and we'll see how that goes. But for this, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and as always, be kind to one another.